Hi guys and girls, I'm Obsidian Ant and welcome to 3301. This is where I take a look at the news and happenings in and around Elite Dangerous. Today I'm going to ask the question, where is the roadmap for Season 2? We'll also be having a look at the controversy surrounding the pricing for Elite Dangerous Horizons. On top of that, there's a nice new community goal to create a new base on a planet in the Pleiades Nebula, and I'll also be asking, where are the aliens? Horizons arrived last week with pretty much a glitch-free launch and has received high praise in regards to the technical accomplishment that it actually is, although the reception has perhaps been a bit mixed in regards to the game's content. Much of this seems to be due to the lack of awareness of what the Horizons season actually contains. Despite a variety of newsletters, videos and live streams, as well as a huge showing at EGX this year about what Horizons is actually going to contain, it would seem that Frontier have actually done a very poor job of communicating this information where it counts the most, at the point of sale. Taking a look at the sales page for Horizons, many of the most significant upcoming updates are not mentioned at all. Whilst I appreciate that this is how Frontier tend to manage their content promotion, I don't believe it is doing them any favours in regards to the public's confusion over the game's content. At this point, as with the title of this video, I feel it is a reasonable question to ask Frontier, hey guys, where is your roadmap? Now, I think that's a perfectly reasonable question for people to ask, especially when the company is asking for people to pay up front for a season of content, especially when a lot of that content is already publicly known anyway. So with that in mind, I want to briefly go over what we know is coming in Season 2. This isn't a full roadmap and we don't know the order the content will arrive in, but here are the things Frontier have confirmed for Horizons so far. The only thing mentioned on the store page in regards to upcoming content is the new loot and crafting system. Again, Frontier are a bit oblique. Some might actually call them obtuse when it comes to explaining what this content will be about. Essentially though, what we have currently with Synthesis is a very basic form of what will ultimately be delivered. Far more materials are to be introduced into the game, and many of them will be discoverable in space. Not all materials will be mineable in the sense of how we currently have to search for them on planets, and some will be discoverable as loot from enemies. As far as I understand, crafting will also be available to Elite Dangerous players that do not have the Horizons expansion. However, they will not be able to probably craft everything, and they certainly won't be able to go down to planets in order to obtain certain materials from there. What sort of items will be craftable? Well, modules. One of the reasons Frontier have held back a huge variation in ship modules is because they wanted to introduce the variation as part of the crafting system. This should cover everything from variations on shields and hull protection to the colour of laser fire. We don't know yet how in-depth the crafting system will be, but it looks to be an interesting feature that will broaden the scope of the game. Multi-crew is an update many people are actually looking very much forward to. You'll have noticed, no doubt, that on many of the ship bridges there is an additional seat, or in some cases multiple extra seats. Well, with this update, those seats will be able to be occupied with friends. Other players will be able to join you on your ship and control various functions. What sort of gameplay will this unlock? Well, that is a big question, and it's actually of a little bit of concern to me. When this question was asked in a recent live stream, it seemed that Frontier actually struggled to answer. Now maybe this is because they didn't want to reveal the details yet, or maybe it's because the gameplay could perhaps be a little bit limited. What they did say, however, is that co-pilots will be able to control elements and functions of the ship that we normally have to control for ourselves, freeing us to be able to concentrate on flying the ship. For example, a co-pilot could plot a course on the galaxy map whilst we pilot, or they could perhaps control the weapons. Little more than that was said, and I really do hope it is actually going to be a little bit more involved in that. But nonetheless, this is still a big change for the game, especially when you consider that co-pilot will be able to launch a fighter ship or land with you on a planet and deploy in one of your SRVs. Deployable fighters will also open up the game quite a bit. The fighters can be controlled by another player, or they can be put under the control of the AI. As for multi-crew though, there will be no AI crew members. And now, in the Horizon season, players will at last get the ability to create custom avatars. A video showing the huge variation of faces was shown at EGX, and again recently it was linked to in a newsletter. The models look pretty good indeed, and this should at last bring some personalisation to the game. Will avatars unlock new gameplay? Well, yet again, we don't know. But what we do know though is that mission types such as passenger missions are still in development, and I'd be willing to bet that the presence of in-game avatars will be a part of the passenger system. David Braben has said that there are more ships yet to come, although Frontier hasn't yet confirmed what those ships will be. He did accidentally let slip a while ago though that one of the upcoming ships will be the Beluga liner. This come up in regards to the sizes of ships. David expressed that ships are limited in potential size due to the need for them to fit through the docking hatch on stations. However, he then went on to say that there are interesting ways around this, and that the Beluga is actually too large to fit through the hatch and has a new feature to overcome this. It's also likely that the Panther Clipper is an upcoming ship. So, that's what has been revealed so far about Season 2. It does give us a very broad outline, but it doesn't go into great detail. However, it does show that Horizons will be an ongoing development. One final question about the Horizons content: could aliens be a part of it? Well, there's a few thoughts of that later in the video. It's difficult to talk about any roadmap for the game without also touching on the pricing model. This seems to be a huge deal for many players, and a cursory look at the reviews on Steam for Horizons will show that the perceived high price for the game is brought up again and again. Now, I can understand the anger and frustration over this, and it seems to be occurring for a number of reasons. Firstly, some people feel that the newer players are paying less than the older players. Old players paid full price for Elite Dangerous and then had to pay full price for Horizons, whereas newer players are only paying for the full price for Horizons and getting Elite Dangerous included. Some people perceive that this is unfair, despite the fact that some of them will have actually gotten a full year of play from their original purchase. However, there will of course be many people who are unaware of Horizons' upcoming release and purchased Elite at full price quite recently. Secondly, another reason for the frustration seems to be the accused lack of content in Horizons. Much of that is addressed in the previous section of this video with the roadmap. Perhaps some of this could have been avoided had Frontier published a roadmap at the point of purchase. After all, not everyone will follow the forums, live streams or newsletters. New players especially that have only just learnt about the game can't be expected to know such details after all, especially if those details aren't on the sales page. All that said though, whilst I completely understand the points people are raising, I personally do not think the price is too high. Why is that? Well, because developing a game of this magnitude is a huge undertaking, and without selling it in this manner, it is likely that the content would never get developed at all. And further to that, Horizons is hardly setting a precedent with this sales model. World of Warcraft charges a monthly subscription, and then releases expansions priced very similar to Horizons. Guild Wars is even closer, a full price game followed by a full price expansion, albeit in this case separated by quite a bit more than a year. Perhaps the fallout over pricing then is down to the perception of value people feel they are getting for their money. And if so, this is largely down to the availability of information that Frontier have provided the community or the new buyers, and this is something they both can and should address. There is now a community goal available for Horizons players. This is for the delivery of items to a surface location, with the goal to construct a planetary outpost in the Maya system within the Pleiades Nebula. This is the same system that the recent community goal delivered at the new space station Obsidian Orbital to. It would seem that this system is shaping up to be a location of importance, especially when you consider that the story behind this community goal is centering on the unknown artifact. The character, Professor Palin, who is investigating the unknown artifact, which is similarly an object of alien origin, is using this community goal to have a research base situated within the system. The Pleiades Nebula itself seems to be a point of interest for the artifact. So, could this perhaps mean that aliens are on the way? Well, some sharp-eyed viewers noticed the following clip within the recent Horizons launch trailer. I've got to admit that this looks eerily similar to the technology and construction of the unknown artifact itself. and this would hardly be the first time that Frontier have teased upcoming content in this manner. So, yep, I actually believe that aliens will be part of this season as well. Finally, I wanted to talk very briefly about a great Twitch streamer who regularly plays Elite Dangerous. Her name is Crass Kitty, and I've found her streams to be very entertaining. She has an interesting playstyle, sometimes playing through regular game content such as missions or combat, other times role-playing as Officer Crass within a roleplay group where she attempts to protect the innocent whilst chasing down various pirates and other criminals. Her streams are certainly worth a watch, and you can find a link in the video description. That then brings us to the end of this episode of 3301. There should be one more episode of this series this year, hopefully next week, although I can't guarantee I'll be able to get that out for Monday. But then I'll be back in the new year with 3302. As always, thanks for watching, and I'll catch you guys and girls next time. Hi guys and girls, I'm Obsidian Ant and welcome to Exploring Elite Dangerous episode 39. I'm right out here, as you know, on the opposite side of the galactic core, and I'm trying out a few planetary landings here. This is a high metal content world, a very good place for picking up resources for synthesis in order to power both your ship and your SRV. Now, I'm not doing it just yet, but in short order I will be wanting to pick up some synthesis items so I can boost my FSD jump drive and hopefully get back home to Earth that much faster. It may also help me get to those systems that are normally hard to reach or perhaps even impossible to reach under normal circumstances.